Hey guys, this is Hybrid. Obviously, if you're watching this video, awesome.
Mhm.
But there's going to be an annotation on the screen and also a link in the description for part one of this video because this is a two-part video. The first part is on JaeRoar's channel,
Mm.
so go watch that, or else you will be horribly, lost. So do that. Let him know where you're coming from,
Yeah.
because the 1-2 army is coming at us, so we got to send the network over there.
Yeah, make
And
sure,
yeah,
yeah. Check that out because we were just got done talking about a Mexican Flash, so you got to hear about that in the next video. So go
yeah,
straight
Flash
to
from
that.
Mexico City,
Yeah,
jump
that's
in that
Mexico City.
border.
Mexico City. All right, Hybrid. That's where we left off. We were about to talk about a where the movie stands right now. I know you're gonna say it seems like a big cluster bomb. It just seems like they're just mashing everything together.
It does. And the only reason I say that is because they need to start. Well, obviously, production has started.
Mm-hmm.
They did the football scene, I guess, because every movie has to have a football scene now if it has Batman in it. I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's the new code for Warner Brothers. But it kind of concerns me. The other day, Amy Adams did an interview,
Mm-hmm.
and she had no idea about the whole Wonder Woman thing, which is a big issue because if they're already doing first drafts of scripts, that means they already have a screenplay done.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, the screenplay is where they get the story for the script.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, where are they at? Do they even have a screenplay? Do they even have a draft really now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? If they're still casting people, we're gonna get to it later about the villains, but just from where they are now, I think they're lost.
Look, I think that they had an idea of what they wanted to do, but then I think Warner Brothers is just throwing Zach all these things that hey, we would like you to do this, and he's like, okay, wow, now I have to switch up the whole story. I have to put this in here, and then they're like, and then a week later, like, okay, we told you to put this, but you think you can squeeze maybe the Flash in? We're just asking Zach, okay, you don't have to do it. No, you have to. We pay you millions of
Yeah.
dollars. Do
If
it.
you don't do this, we'll take away a few $1 million from your budget.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think this is a similar scenario to what Sony did with Sam Raimi. If you don't know, in Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi, the villain was supposed to be the Lizard because they've been building up to it for
Hmm.
the past few films, especially in Spider-Man 2. But Venom was really big at the time. So
With Venom.
Sony told Sam Raimi put Venom in there. And originally what the movie was going to do, it was going to have Harry in it in a similar role to what he was in Spider-Man 3, and it was going to be the Lizard. There was going to be no Sandman. I think they may have been building up to Venom because they were going to try doing a Spider-Man 4 and 5. I think with Venom and Vulture um, being the villains for the respected movies and whatever
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do. But yeah, I think it's a similar case where Sony being the studio, or in this case Warner Brothers, being like, hey Sam Raimi, hey Zack Snyder,
Mm-hmm.
we're not telling you have to do this, but we're heavily recommending it if you want to make your movie to put this in there because this is the in thing now. This is what's going to be popular. Bring fans to the movie. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going on. A little bit of studio pressure, and
Okay.
you know, I hope the movie doesn't suffer
Yeah.
from it. But
No, I got you. But also, the one thing I want to clarify to everybody that I'm tired of hearing it just because it doesn't have to be that way. Oh my God, they're just rushing to all the heroes, which, okay, they kind of are. But what I hear is that kind of, it just makes me like facepalm. They should just do what the Avengers did, have one each movie, and then explain it. I'm like, if they did that, they'll be basically copying Marvel. But of course, people be like, well, yeah, Marvel did it right. But don't you think you will want to do it your own way? Like for
yeah,
instance, like Marvel's thing, like after the credits, that's kind of like their thing. But it's been done before, but they perfected it because they do that with all their movies.
yeah,
Like,
they made it popular. I think DC shouldn't think they need to do it for Batman, for example. They don't need to make a new Batman movie, really.
mhm.
They could easily explain the new Batman stuff in comic book form.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of the movies do that. Marvel does that with bridging the events between Iron Man or from the Avengers, Iron Man 3. They did that with comic books, bridging what happens at the end of Avengers to Thor 3. They
Mhm.
did that with comic books. So DC can equally do that. I don't think there's a problem there. I think the only heroes that really need films
Mhm.
per se is Wonder Woman. They could do a comic book thing with Green Lantern,
Mhm.
obviously, and obviously they'll probably have Jeff Johns write that.
Mhm.
But yeah, like they don't have to follow that model. That's the unique thing about their characters is that many of their characters have already been exposed so much to the general audience
Hmm.
that they have that little edge there where they can put them into the movie and people will know who they are.
Hmm. One of my buddies who, he doesn't own a comic shop, but he works at one, and he was talking about that he thinks, and he's like, he was usually right. He was right about the whole Bane was going to be the next one after Joker passing away, and he thought it was going to be Hugo Strange and Bane, but it was, you know how that ended, whatever. But I think he was on a good point. He was on a good strive. He was like, oh, I think it's gonna be Doomsday in this one, and then they're gonna throw another like side character like Lex Luthor. Even though Lex Luthor is not the side character, I'm saying like Doomsday is gonna be the main threat because that's what's gonna get all those heroes to come together and defeat him.
Yeah.
It's like that one episode on the anime series. Remember where Doomsday came and destroyed almost everything, and he destroyed
Yeah, I
all the
remember that.
heroes, and then that's how it's gonna happen. So then he was saying like, oh, Doomsday is gonna be the villain. Then after that, it's gonna be Brainiac, and then that's when they're going to introduce Supergirl. Because if you don't remember, in the first one, a pod was missing, and if you read the comics, that was, I think that was, Supergirl's. So I think they were going to go with a Supergirl in this movie, but then Warner Bros. Said, like, oh, no, save her for the third movie, where you're going to have to face Brainiac, and that's where you can introduce Supergirl, because maybe Supergirl is with Brainiac right now, and then Superman has to go and find her to, bring her back. So, I see where they can go with that. But if they add Supergirl in this movie, oh my god, that's imagine Supergirl versus Wonder Woman. Holy shit! Holy
That
crap,
would
dude!
rock that would rock Metropolis yet again.
Yes,
I don't
but
think Metropolis could handle that.
oh my god, like, and the cool thing about Warner Bros. That they don't use, I think now they're using, they have all the rights to all their characters. They can throw anybody in there. For God's
Yes,
sake,
they literally have the biggest edge of any studio.
and they don't. Well, now they're kind of using it, but now they're like, oh, you assholes think that we're not using it? Just throw Plastic Man next to me.
Yeah.
Plastic Man is confirmed. He's going to stretch out and save somebody that, Superman's fighting. He's going to catch him. Or, what name a funny character? Crypto can be in it? Why not? Just throw him. He's just a dog, and we don't pay enough for the dog.
Yeah. Next thing you know, we're getting Wanna Beast.
There you go. We're going to get, like, I'm telling you, like, we're probably going to get so many different characters in this movie that people are going to complain. I'm not going to complain because, I feel that the more the better, but of course people are going to be like, oh, bringing up the whole Spider-Man 3. That was years ago. Back then, when superheroes movies weren't all that great.
The only problem with that is that with Spider-Man 3, it was several different subplots trying to converge into one at the end, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't have several subplots and then they try cramming them in randomly at the end, you can have many characters. That's like comic books do it all the time. In comic books, I think I might have mentioned this before sometime, but they write comic books literally just like you write a script for a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no reason why if a comic book can have many villains and many characters in a story, a movie can't.
Yeah, and that leads to our next topic. There has been no villains confirmed. This is like a pretty much a superhero movie. I feel like we're not getting villains, and Wonder Woman's a villain. Boom, there's your villain right there.
Because I think the villain's gonna be?
Who?
The villain is gonna be that someone gets a boo-boo and they need to patch it up.
Is that confirmed?
I think so.
It is going to be confirmed, but that's the thing. There has been no villains. Now, like, everything is going to be Lex Luthor, but we don't know yet. It's just we haven't got anything. We've just been giving more hero news about anything. Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Arrow might appear. There's been so many, but why no villain? Like, is Batman the villain or is Superman the villain? We don't know yet. They haven't gave us anything. I really wish at Comic-Con when they showed the logo, right? I really wish it was like an actor that that's playing a voiceover for Lex, and he would have said something about that. That would have been cool if Lex Luthor said something. Like, to me, I think that Lex Luthor should be in it. And
he honestly, if they're doing the whole rebuild Metropolis thing, it would be the dumbest decision not to have Lex Luthor in it.
So I know we talked about this in part 1, but right now, Hybrid, if one of us came to you, right, and said, okay, give us your honest opinion, what villain would you want to throw between Batman versus Superman, where they're fighting in the beginning, but then they actually come together to face who? You could say Metallo, which that's a safe route, but what other villain would you go with?
I'm glad you asked that question. All right, so they could do Metallo. Just as easily, a lot of people might be surprised by this, but just as easily as they could do Metallo, they could do someone like Cyborg Superman.
Oh, wow, that would.
Too, because if they could do Metallo, and they have the whole Kryptonian cloning thing going on, they could easily do something like Superman. And I'm pretty sure after the Battle of Metropolis that happened, they probably have a sample of him somewhere in that city. But honestly, I firmly believe that Lex Luthor needs to be the villain because he is the bridge, the coherent bridge that makes sense between Bruce Wayne being in Metropolis for business opportunities, but also Batman, defeating the corrupt businessman, and also at the same time Superman, Metropolis, Lex Luthor. Like, it's the only logical, like the truly logical villain for both of them, which is why, I have the original World's Finest #1 comic, the original one. It had Joker and Lex Luthor in it. I'm not saying I want Joker in it, but I'm saying Lex Luthor was in it, and there's a reason. Because Lex Luthor can connect to them so easily and so well, and so it's just he's the perfect villain for a Batman Superman team up. But I think if they were to add another villain in there besides someone like Metallo or Cyborg Superman, I'd say, they could do something like Amazo. They could do an interpretation of Amazo without Dr. Ivo.
Yeah.
I think I'd be fine with that if they pulled it off and explained it correctly.
Yeah.
But in my honest opinion, I think we'd probably get something
that we won't.
We'd probably get something regarding. It'd be probably more organic than metallic. So like it's hard because there's so many. But I'd say Parasite probably. We might get something like Parasite.
I wouldn't mind Parasite actually.
Just because that would give a reason for having a villain that Superman alone can't really defeat. Because it could be Superman being arrogant like he kind of is in Man of Steel, to be honest. And he get his powers drained by someone like Parasite, and someone smart that has a science background would know how to, counter someone like Parasite.
Okay. Well, what about this? Lex Luthor and Bizarro.
I've heard that. I've heard people throwing that around, and I'd be fine with that because they could easily go the route of having Bizarro be the first attempt, and that fails, and then having Doomsday.
There you go. That'd be pretty cool. One last thing. Okay, what if it'd be really cool that this won't never happen. This would be really cool if they went like way different, like from nobody saw this coming. What if it was like Shazam and Black Adam also into the movie? Like other than Wonder Woman, like if for instance, if they never added Batman or Wonder Woman, I think they should have gone with like a Shazam route. So that brings kids in also, and then you can bring Black Adam, who's also a good like matchup towards Superman. I thought that that one day that would be pretty cool, like the way they did in that anime series, on that little anime movie that was 20 minutes. I really thought they could have done it into a movie because if you guys don't know, Superman is weak against magic, and it would have been nice to see something different other than something so physical all the time. Where we got to see in the first one. I would love to see Henry Cavill go up against a magic character that he can really defend himself that really well.
If they did a Captain Marvel / Shazam, well, they'd have to call him Shazam now. But if they did Shazam and a Black Adam into movie, I don't know about you with Black Adam, but if they screwed over Shazam, I would be done.
You would be done with these.
I would walk out of the movie theater. I'd go up to Warner Brothers, and I wouldn't even say a word.
How could you?
I
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, I think it'd be less of a how could you screw it up, but more of a how dare you screw it up.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you, DC Warner Bros. Take my hero away like that? All right, the next thing we're gonna talk about is box numbers. Batman vs Superman versus Avengers: Age of Ultron. Who's gonna win? Do you think it's gonna be close, or do you think one's gonna just outnumber the other person? Hybrid, go ahead, start off.
Okay, so I think baseline thinking, because we're not there yet, 2015. But baseline thinking, I think as of right now, Avengers would have the lead box office wise, just because it has more positive press, and that is extremely important for people wanting to see the movie that weren't initially interested. Because if you're cramming all these heroes in it, and like you said, you don't have the villain announced yet, no one really knows a plot for it. They're not sure if the actors are on board with everything going on. They don't know, if a real storyline's happening at this moment. that's really not persuading to an audience, at least not an informed audience. Like obviously it's known it's gonna get audience view, it's gonna get viewership, ticket sales because it has Superman in it, because it has Batman in it. That's a big boost. Wonder Woman's gonna be in it. That's another big boost. Which is another reason why I think that they announced Wonder Woman so much, even if she's just gonna have a small role. They made a big deal out of it because the name value. So I think name value wise,
Hmm.
that's something not to underestimate. But I think everything else considered, we're gonna have to wait to see how it pans out to see if it goes more positive
Yeah,
with it. I hope it's close. Honestly,
I think
I'd love it to be close. I firmly believe that both movies are gonna get close to a billion, if not break a billion.
so.
Avengers 2, on the other hand, I'm pretty sure it's gonna break a billion. I'm pretty sure it's gonna do well just because of how well received the first Avengers film was, um,
Do you
and
think
just
it'll
how
be better than
popular they
the
are.
first Avengers?
I want to say I think it will be just because the disadvantage that Man of Steel has, the sequel Man of Steel has, Batman vs Superman,
It's not really kid.
between Avengers 2, is that Avengers 2, Joss Whedon, he's just working on that. Like, yes, he's helping oversee the other Marvel projects to make sure they tie into Avengers 2, properly. But the only movie he's working on to perfect is Avengers 2.
Yeah, he's
On
not.
the other hand, you have Goyer, who is doing all these different films, which isn't bad, but Goyer has a tendency to reuse the same storyline formulas for his movies.
Yeah.
And yes, they have Zack Snyder helping him with writing too, but
Hmm.
it's just that it just seems that you have, on one hand, like, the only thing is you have someone who I feel like they're gonna run Goyer dry creatively, and
Hmm.
that's gonna be a big problem. But with Marvel, they have Joss Whedon, and he has time to come up with these stories.
Hmm.
And it's not like with Man of Steel, where when Man of Steel came out this year, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the next movie will come out 2015.
Yes.
You have Avengers, which came out 2011, and then you had the sequel movies keeping up with the steam of it, and it's all really about the press. Like I mentioned this earlier, it's about positive press. Who's going to have more positive press going into it? So I think at this moment, due to the fact that there hasn't really been anything going against Avengers 2 press wise, or at least media wise, I think they currently would have the lead. But like I said, there's tons of time between now and 2015.
Hmm.
It's going to be a close game, right? Either way, out of the gates. Um, Avengers 2 does come out first though, so they
Yeah.
have that advantage, obviously. But yeah,
Either way, all of us nerds are gonna go see both. So that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna go see both. But imagine hybrid. I think we talked about this one time. I don't know. Imagine if they were both on the same date. Holy shit! People would die. People,
people would die. It'd be
people
like
would
Black
die.
Friday. People would die.
People would die. Fans will die. Like I mean, nerds would fight each other
Yeah, they
so
probably
much, and I would be recorded and laugh my ass off.
you'd have a fan that would have a batarang, and you'd have another fan with I don't know,
The little
like a
plasma blast,
repulsor or something. I don't
the little
know.
plasma blaster from Iron Man.
No, there you go. You'd have someone with a batarang, another person with Mjolnir in their hand, and they'd just be going at it.
Kids would fight with each other. Oh my god, it would just be crazy. Just Batman,
And
Iron Man.
knowing Marvel and DC, when they do like the trailers and stuff for it, it's like number one movie in America. They'd probably have stuff like personally attacking the other film, being like, "This critic says this is much better than Justice League or a Man of Steel sequel or Batman vs Superman," something like that.
Yeah.
So they'd obviously hype it up because hyping it up, more attention, more attention,
Mhm.
more tension equals more attention, equaling more interest, equaling more viewership. So
I tell
and
people,
money.
you
It's all
know,
about money.
yeah. Last thing I want to talk about is the box number thing. Is that I tell people this: Avengers, they have kid numbers. DC, they have Batman numbers. You got to think about it because Batman is the most popular hero of all time. I don't care if you can disagree with me. He's the most well-known hero of all time. Like you say Batman, I
I
go
think Superman is, but I can see why you say Batman. He's a
because you got to think about Batman is he's like the big poster boy just because he had more movies than Superman. In my opinion, I think he does right because then you had Christopher Nolan flicks and then the animated flicks, and then his comics are good.
well, I think with the animated movies, Superman would have. I don't know. You'd have to count this, but I think Superman would have more with the animated movies because they were cranking out like All Star Superman,
Mhm.
Superman versus the Elite. They've been cranking a lot of Superman films out,
To me,
animated. So
I just think Batman is like he's to me he's more than Superman just because they push him more than Superman because it is hard to relate to an alien than somebody that lost to the parents and actually becomes a detective. You see what I'm going at? It's kind of hard to
yeah,
relate
yeah,
to
I see
a
you.
superpower alien. I think Armin also said this too. It's really hard to relate to somebody like that, but you can relate to somewhat to Batman just because what he's been with being a no parents and then going through the trials of everything. You can relate to that. Superman, oh, you're gifted all these powers and you have emotional issues. Well, that I did not see coming, sir. But I just think, in my opinion, it's gonna be a great year, 2015. Either way, I can't wait for both
It's
movies.
going to be a very financially striking year as
Oh yeah.
well.
Okay. Another thing we're gonna talk about is characters, small character cameos that are gonna be in the movie. If you saw one of the videos, they asked Henry Cavill what was his favorite Easter egg. Because if you did not see Man of Steel, I have a Man of Steel Easter eggs. You go on my page, and it's the most viewed video on my thing. Because everybody, I worked really hard on that because I try to find as much as Easter eggs as I can. But
Yeah.
he put a lot. Zack Snyder put a lot of work for Easter eggs. There was no after credits, but there was a lot of Easter eggs. And when they asked Henry Cavill what was his favorite, he said the Star Labs because he said that leads to Cyborg. And also, I think there was another Easter egg where Henry Cavill was Superman at his house, and they were watching a football game. And I think he said like 10 yards. What's Cyborg's real name?
Vic, Victor
Victor Stone.
Stone,
Yeah, Victor
something
Stone.
like that.
It's like 10 yards from Victor Stone, and then I was like, oh, that was a cool Easter egg. And when Henry Cavill talks about this, I get excited because that means does that mean with the next movie we're gonna see Victor Stone? That would be cool. Like in the beginning where all this stuff is happening, and then like you see Victor Stone, you don't know it's him. It could just be some black guy, just like you pass by it, and he's at a football field, and you're like, oh, yep, that's Victor Stone right there. Yeah, just because he has the number 85 on, and he's black, so why not?
Well, I heard an interesting theory, because they filmed the football scene for this movie coming up. Someone said, "What if an accident happens at the football game, like an explosion, something like that,
Oh,
or like we didn't see it on screen in Man of Steel, but when they were fighting, they happened to crash into a football field, just something like that.
hmm
One of the players could be injured, and that could be who becomes Cyborg. Like that could be why he goes through the
yeah.
procedure to be Cyborg. He gets injured, during that,
If
and like I just thought about this. A route they could easily go is you have LexCorp and Star Labs working together to
mhm.
build something like Cyborg Superman, like Metallo,
What if
but
Cyborg's
with
the main villain?
yeah, that's the thing. They could do something where Victor Stone gets injured while playing the football game, and
And that's their
it's
answer to
blamed.
Superman.
Yeah, it's blamed on superhumans like Superman, for example, and they decide to, you know, heal Victor, by making him cyborg, but giving him that with the purpose of taking down Superman.
Oh
And
man, that would be
in
cool.
the process, he sees that Superman's a hero, so he decides, like because he wants to be a hero, and he's under the impression Superman is this, destructive, you know, powerful figure because he destroyed a good chunk of Metropolis.
hmm
So, but once he actually gets around Superman and he sees, what Superman's actually trying to do, he's a good person, stuff like that. He could turn around, be on Superman's side. Like they could do that. You know what? I'd applaud them if they did that because that would be something you wouldn't expect, but it'd be a really good story at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. If that's how they're gonna do it, Victor does. I think he has to be on Metropolis team because it wouldn't make sense for him being in Gotham's team because Gotham's more like
Yeah.
dark and like I don't know. I just don't think Victor will go to school like that. If anything, he'll probably go to Metropolis. Alrighty, the last thing is the we're gonna talk about is what's gonna happen after the Batman vs Superman. What DC movie do you think will be next? Hybrid.
Well, let's see. Unless they make a Wonder Woman movie, which it's rumored that See, I think they're either going to do like a Wonder Woman standalone film to ride off of the hype on Wonder Woman train right now.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they'll make a Flash. Well, I doubt they're going to make a Flash movie now because of the Flash TV show. So they'll probably be like, "Hey, you want to know the origin of Barry Allen? Look at that TV show."
Mm-hmm.
But they might as well just do a Justice League film. It looks like they're trying so hard to do a Justice League movie with this without actually making a Justice League movie.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, they might as well just make a Justice League.
Hmm. So yeah, if I would, yeah, I would like a Justice League movie, but it would be nice, not just like, oh, we have to wait another 2 years for Justice League. I think after that they should go off like a spin-off with what do you call it? A maybe a Justice League Dark or another John Constantine movie or something cool, like something.
Yeah, they're supposed to be producing a Justice League Dark movie by Del Toro, so
Oh, I would love to see that. His vision. Why not?
the dude knows what he wants.
Oh yeah, like like I said, like anything. Let me just, let me. Whenever I need an idea, I just look at my comic wall and let me see if it's not a Justice League. A Green Lantern movie would be nice too. I would love to
Yeah,
see
Warner Brothers. I
yep,
have the screenplay waiting for you. Just take it.
yeah, like a Red Lantern would be nice, like an Invasion or something. That would be
I
cool.
made that movie.
A Flash movie would be all right. What about a Justice League America movie? That would be cool. I
That would be cool.
I would. But yeah, I just think they can go with anything. They have the rights to almost. No, never mind. They have the right to any character they want, and they can go with anything. I just don't want to wait another 2 years for a Justice League movie or whatever. I just think after Justice League, they should confirm the next year we're gonna get a movie or something like that. Like they were hiding it. Oh, next year, the end of December, we're gonna get this movie. Boom, and then I'm like, yes, I don't have to wait for 2 years for another freaking DC movie.
Yeah, like at the end of the Batman vs Superman movie, you just see all of a sudden 20, what would it be, 2016 new movie. It's like, oh shit. Like,
But more likely, it'll probably be a Batman movie or something.
yeah, probably.
Probably because they're scared to try new things. But yeah, that is the end of discussion. Wow. Well, we talked about a lot of things.
We did a lot of Warner Brother things.
But yeah, I guess this is your channel and you can end it off.
Okay, so make sure if you haven't seen part one for some reason, I don't know why you're still watching this,
Yeah.
go check out part one. Like I said in the beginning of this video, there's going to be an annotation. I'll try my best to keep the annotation going across the screen for the whole video.
Hmm.
And there will be definitely a description on the bottom. If you are not subscribed to JaeRoar, subscribe to him.
Why
He makes
not?
great content. Yeah, like why not? Why not subscribe to him?
Yeah.
Join, help the 1-2 army out, 1-2
I'm
punch army out.
naked all the time when I do my commentary. Who doesn't want that?
But also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe, join the
Oh, yeah.
network.
Subscribe to this
Um,
channel, my army. Do it.
yeah, like help each other out. We're all comic book fam here,
Yeah.
and
That's about
you know,
it, right? Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna.
Comment below
Yeah.
your
If you
your
guys,
thoughts, opinions on what we talked about.
Yeah, if you guys want more videos like this where it's like a two-parter, please leave a comment below and let us know what other topics you guys want us to talk about. Maybe we can get another person. We try to get Joe and Armin, but of course they were busy. So maybe we can get Caboose or another guy that we don't know about that you guys want us to do a video. If you want to do one, then send us a message and yeah, we'll test you out and see if you know your knowledge. And please, if you're going to do a video with us, please just have a good mic. I don't want to hear perhaps he is wondering why he will shoot a man after repairing. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear fucking Bane. I don't. I had that too much already. But yeah, thanks Hybrid for
Yeah,
having.
thank you.
Oh yeah. So we'll see you guys later.